Ted 2 is directed by Seth MacFarlane and stars Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg, Amanda Seyfried, and a smattering of others with cameos by the likes of Liam Neeson, Sam Jones, Morgan Freeman. You get the point. So what's Ted 2 about? Well, basically, Ted and his girlfriend from the first film get married, and it cuts to a year later, and they're all having relationship problems. They can't figure out what's wrong until one of Ted's co-workers suggests that they have a baby. Now, obviously, Ted has no male, the dangly thing down there. Yeah, he has no dick, basically. He has no dick, and therefore they can't have a baby the natural way, so he decides they need to get a sperm donor. But when they try to do that, they get a letter saying that Ted is no longer recognised as a person, he is an object. And basically the whole film, it examines that, and it examines relationships, it examines parenthood. You never thought you'd say that for a Seth MacFarlane movie, or anything associated with the man. Now, is Ted 2 funny? Yes, I laughed quite a bit during the watching of this here. In fact, I thought, despite what other people may think, I thought Ted 2 was funnier than the first one, and I love the first one personally. But does that mean that the second movie is better than the first one? I would say no, because in the first one, the story was more cohesive, it made more sense. It had it was literally A to B. You knew what it was, you knew where it was going. It was a simplistic story. Here, it's all over the place. One minute it's a rom-com, another minute it's a sophomore comedy, the other minute it's a road trip. It's just all over the place now. But is that a bad thing as well? No, it isn't. It's very weird. It's very weird how much you can say one thing about Ted 2 that's bad and another thing that's good. One thing I would say is if you're not a fan of Family Guy or American Dad, or dare I say it, The Cleveland Show, if you're not a fan of those shows and not a fan of the first movie, you definitely won't like this. It's more of the same that we had in the first one. There's a lot more toilet humour, there's a lot more expletives being used, there's a lot more sexual things going on as well. It's definitely not for kids. It's not something you take your kids to. Not that you would if you've seen the trailers anyway. The trailers are pretty full on. Seth MacFarlane, once again, I think he does a great job bringing the teddy bear to life. The CGI for the bear, I think, is actually worse than the first one, because especially in the opening sequence, the opening musical sequence where you see there's a whole dance routine, and like this, the CGI is just really clear in it. There's no other way of saying it. And also a thing about this as well, you can tell it's literally Family Guy the movie, like the physical movie without the Family Guy characters, because there are certain bits where they use cutaway gags, which I felt, don't get me wrong, the cutaway gags were fucking hilarious. I really thought they were brilliant, but were they appropriate for this movie? I don't think so. I will say Mila Kunis wasn't missed in this movie. They sort of write this thing in where her and Mark Wahlberg have had a divorce and everything, and she's never even heard from in this. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because I thought she dragged the first movie down a bit. She wasn't really necessary, I thought. And Amanda Seyfried is, I think it's one of the funniest roles she's ever done in this. She's just very, very funny. And her name is one of the best jokes, because she's Samuel Jackson, obviously, but I won't ruin that joke. You've probably seen it in the trailers though, but still. Another thing I would mention is if you're into movies and the 80s, basically pop culture, you're going to get a lot of service from this here. There's a lot of references, there's a lot of brilliant cameos. Liam Neeson was the best cameo. I laughed out loud when he came on the screen. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He was using his own Northern Irish accent as well, which I thought really added to it, and it made it more grounded in reality, I thought. But yeah, there's a lot of references. If you're a geek like me and you enjoy movies, TV shows, that sort of thing, basically anything from the 70s and the 80s onwards, you're going to really enjoy this. There's a lot of jokes about it. Also, it has one of the greatest uses of John Williams' score for Jurassic Park you will ever see, and I guarantee that. Overall, I think Ted 2 definitely better than the first one. I certainly enjoyed it. I think If you like the first one, you're definitely going to like this. It has a very, very heartwarming story. You know, it has good morals, and in a way, it teaches you things about yourself. Well, you never thought you would say that about maybe about a talking bird who does pot and talks shit all day. All things considered, Ted 2 gets a B+. So guys, that was my review for Ted 2. If you like this and you want to see more, please press that subscribe button. Give us a like if you want to. And obviously comment everything and anything down below. If you like Ted, tell me about it. If you didn't, tell me about it as well. Tell me why you didn't like it. Yeah guys, thanks very much for watching. I've been Jason Black. You guys have been awesome. Thanks very much for watching. Take care.